Today we're going to talk about assault. If you're watching this, you probably have a sister, a daughter, a mother, a friend, a family member, someone in your life who has been a victim of physical, sexual, and emotional abuse. And I chose to sit down and talk about this today because of my connection to it, and because I have people in my life who have experienced similar or the same thing that I have. If you're watching this and you haven't experienced any physical violence against you or any form of abuse, that's awesome. You can still be really supportive of the people around you that have. The biggest part of being a good ally is showing support and showing that you're listening. Sometimes when we open up about abuse, we don't necessarily need advice. We don't need you to solve the problem. A good piece of advice that I got from a Hannah Hart video is to listen twice as much as you speak. Sometimes survivors of abuse and assault and physical violence just need to talk and let that out into their space. It's also really important not to overshadow stories. So for example, if someone's being vulnerable enough to open up about abuse and about their story, don't say something like, oh yeah, I went through the exact same thing, here is my story, and just blurt it out. It's important to ask someone who's a survivor of assault if you can bring that up, because it might be triggering to them. From my own experiences with people that I've talked to, it's important not to downplay the situation. And at the same time, if hearing someone's story makes you uncomfortable, try to sit with that for a second. Opening up about physical violence and assault to someone is really, really vulnerable. And if you ignore what someone is saying because it makes you uncomfortable, or if you try to change the subject, it feels invalidating, it feels hurtful, and it's not going to help the survivor. It's really important to emphasize that the survivor isn't alone, because even though these statistics are very high, being a victim of assault and being a survivor of physical violence can get very, very lonely. I think it's important to be patient too, because the healing process is not linear and can take a lot of time. And as a survivor, sometimes I feel guilt because I utilize my support system so much, and it's been a while, and I'm still working through that. And I can guarantee you that the people in your life are probably still working through that too. So be patient and be willing to listen over and over again if needed. Small actions of support help too. It doesn't have to be a big gesture. You don't have to do something extravagant to make someone feel supported. All we really need is to know that you're there, and to know that we can come to you if we want to. Extreme abuse can be scary, and helping someone develop a safety plan is important, and making sure that they have the means to stay safe is a great thing that you can do. I can say from experience, as a person who is trying to help someone get out of an abusive relationship, it's a long process. Someone might not be prepared to leave, they might not be ready, they might not feel safe, and it's important to acknowledge that. If your friend or family member is not ready to leave an abusive partner, keep them as safe as you possibly can, and understand that they are not ready to do that, and it's going to take some time. And at the same time, if they do choose to end the relationship, there's going to be a healing process after, and it's important to still support them after they've made that decision. Using encouraging and empowering language is really, really helpful, even if it's just a small sentence. You can try things like, I'm so sorry you had to go through this, but you're a survivor and it's important to remember that. I'm glad that you're brave enough to speak about this. Can I get you anything or do anything to make you feel more comfortable right now? Try your best to avoid blame and to avoid saying things that might come off as unsupportive, even if you feel like they could be supportive. For example, saying things like, well, why didn't you just run away? Haven't you gotten over this already? Maybe if you had done something differently, this wouldn't have happened. If you're able to, offer to go with them to counseling appointments, court dates, and any other situation where they might have to see their abuser. Some people really like this, and some people might want to do it alone. And remember that you can't rescue them. Making sure they have resources is great. Making sure they have someone they can trust to talk to is also really great. Helping someone find a way to safety and peace is really, really important. And that support is very much valued by survivors. One of the greatest things that I've heard from my support system is, I know I can't fix this for you, but I want to be there to support you while you work through it. I'm so proud to know so many women who are opening up about assault, sexual violence, physical violence, and emotional abuse. And the women who are doing that are so brave. Creating an open dialogue about abuse and assault is really important. Thank you so much for watching, and keep speaking up about current issues even if they're uncomfortable, because just talking about them makes a difference.